We're going to call the meeting to order, and would you please join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the United States, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. We are going to start with item number 2, correspondence. We don't have anything tonight, so we'll move to item 3, which is public comment session for items that are on tonight's agenda. And we have one speaker, it's Justine Scully, and I will just read quickly the board comments policy. And we thank you for coming. We appreciate you taking the time to attend our meeting, and we welcome your comments. The Board of Education would like to remind community members that meetings are not public forums. Rather, they are business meetings held in public where dialogue is not normally conducted with audience members. If you would like to share your thoughts with the board, please state your name and address and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Please understand we will not respond to your comments or questions at this time. But if you would like a response, please be sure to include your phone number or email address on the sign-in sheet by the door. Please note that public comments for items on the agenda will occur during the first comment section, and all other comments occurring during the second comment session. Comments will be in reference to a school topic or interest, not an individual or employee position. Speakers are asked to be respectful, as we regularly have students attending these meetings as part of their coursework. Anyone who wishes to address the board, please step up to the podium and turn on the microphone so we can all hear your comments. Thank you. And Justine, you are up. Welcome.
Good evening. You can hear me okay? Okay. I just wanted to remind everyone tonight, because you have your applicants that are running for the open seat, why in 2022 there were 7 candidates who came out to run for the board and 1,000 people who came out to vote. I have a bunch of reasons, and you all know what they are. But rather than cite all of them, I just wanted to say that the board under this current president, you have all made such great progress, and it's been, I think, 1 year and 3 months. Our children spend nearly 7 hours per day and about 180 days per year in the school. And though it is critical that we look at what has gone on prior to this board, I just want you to be reminded that I want you to make the same progress you've made in the past 1 year and 3 months and move forward with that same stamina. I notice so many differences. There's a lot of transparency, there's security. It's amazing what has gone on, the introduction of the new programs, the extracurriculars for the elementary. And I trust that you will make the right decision tonight to not go backward and make old mistakes, but to keep moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Justine. Moving to item number 4, we have presentations and guests, and we have 2 presentations tonight, and the first one is by secondary school principal, Ms. Amanda Eberly.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to do a little presentation on what's been going on, what we're working on, and what we've had event-wise so far. So currently right now we have a few initiatives happening. So these are just some of those updates. Right now we're working on streamlining our registration process for our after-school clubs and activities. We're going the route of Arbiter Sports, which is currently Family ID. They're switching over their name. This program is what our sports and clubs have used. So this will help streamline the whole process and ensure that our school and the students' safety is our #1 priority. We also have been working with a math consultant who just met with our math team on Wednesday. They're coming in to do a needs assessment and really work on figuring out our next steps with our math program. They've really asked for some more support. So this is a liaison that we went with this year that we feel that can really bring that to them. We also have been working behind the scenes with some different community partners and really branching out and getting some internships and things set up for our students using that career readiness program. We just met with the DEP. They did a really great presentation, gave us a lot of information, and there's some really cool things that can be set up for our students. So we're working with them and alongside them to give some more opportunities to those that are going to graduate. We also have started our senior presentations and our college readiness programs. Our guidance counselors have been pushing into different classrooms, getting them all set up. We have colleges starting to come in. We have college applications starting and our FAFSA night going to be coming up. So we're really starting to prep them and get them moving about their year and getting them ready for their transition. We also have a couple of trips coming up. We have our Future Business Leaders of America. They're traveling to Rhode Island for a national leadership conference. We have our Future Farmers of America trip that's going to Indiana. We also have our theater club presenting their High Spirits program, and that's coming up on the 27th and 28th. And our JV and varsity winter sports registration is now open as well. So these are just some things that have been happening along the way. Some attendance. This is our current report is on top. Last year's report, the same dates are on the bottom. So right now we're overall at a 91.19% in attendance. Last year, the same dates, 90.90. Obviously not where we want to be, but we are working hard and we have some steps that we've been taking to try to encourage these numbers and work them up. Some of those are an attendance reach out. The student service liaison, our MTSS world, has been working really hard on connecting to families, really figuring out what's happening, why our students aren't attending, where they are they moving, are they in leeway, that kind of thing. So we've been really doing more person-to-person reach out, and that's been effective in helping. We also are doing some program outreach. So we're really trying to focus in on those students that what can we encourage them and how do we encourage them to come to school. We just took a trip to the Delaware Valley Job Corps where we were introduced some different programs that might work out for some of our students who maybe aren't set up on a pathway yet, and they really need to spark their interest and get them more involved in the school. We also are working on launching an attendance competition that we're going to be starting October 30th. We're working with our cafeteria and trying to just encourage students to be in school. Fridays and Mondays are our lowest number in attendance days. So we're working on Fridays and the grade levels. Whoever has the highest percentage on Friday would get a treat on Monday. Some just different things, and everyone loves a competition. So we're really hoping we can kind of improve those numbers and some back outreach on that. And then we come to homecoming. We had a wonderful homecoming weekend. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who helped plan, donate, and volunteer to make this year successful. We started out with our pep rally, which was really awesome. We had a lot of participants. We got to introduce all of our teams and our sports. It was really exciting and fun. We also had our bonfire. We had a powder puff game this year that was super successful. We had our dance. We cooked breakfast at 7:30 in the morning for all of our teams and anyone that wanted to join us as well. And then we had our football game too. So it was a really great weekend. You can just tell the dedication from our staff and our students and our families for making it all possible. So it was really fun to see that happen. We also, elementary had Fire Prevention Day and had organized all of that. And we sent down some of our junior firefighters who are very passionate throughout the building and do a lot with that. So they were really excited to go down to elementary and kind of showcase that. So these are all our junior firefighters participating in the Fire Prevention Day in elementary. Anyone have any questions?
Any updates on the work-based learning program by Ms. Hugler?
Yep. So part of the DEP presentation, that was part of Ms. Hugler's outreach. So she's been going out into the community and meeting with different businesses and different opportunities. DEP in particular had kind of come to her and said, you know, we have a lot of different internship opportunities that haven't been taken advantage. And it's a huge pipeline that we haven't outsourced, and it's huge in this area. So that really opened a lot of different opportunities for students that are even outside of that work-based learning program. She's been meeting with the bank, and we've set up some things there. The students have been working diligently. They've been doing the Barista Bears Cafe. They've also been working on their profiles and getting their interests and surveys down so they can really start getting out into the community. So we're moving right along. I think we have right now 27 students enrolled in that program, and it's been really successful. They're really excited about it. And we'll have updates probably in January. We're going to have students come in and try to present and show what they've been working on. You're welcome.
If I may, I have two, one at a time. What do you see as a primary problem in the absentee?
We've uncovered a lot of questions on long-term absences. Some of our families that have left the area, maybe not registering in other schools, which are affecting our numbers. So we've really been tracking that down and trying to figure out how to outsource to them, making sure if they're going the homeschooling pathway, or if they've moved and they just haven't re-registered, and really tracking down those numbers to help increase. But then we also have students who, just don't have an interest. They don't have a push. So we're really trying to do some outsourcing on that. If we have to do some family home visits just to encourage, we've made a lot of phone calls and we've had some success. We've had students that we haven't had in our building in months that have showed up, and we're really hoping that we can start a outreach, and the more we start to push, the more that they're kind of encouraged to come back in. So we're hoping that will help with that.
Do we have a census officer? And what's our timeline on doing that? I know you have to do it so often.
We do not have a census officer. We did the census, in 2020? So is it every 10 years or 20 years they have to do it? 10? Every 10 years.
The reason I ask, because they generally know the homes because they go around. And I know our census officer also was the truant officer, went to homes to see where they were. I know times have changed as far as safety, but it might be something we want to think about and prepare for that, if that would help, and free them up to do more of our educational that's needed. But this is important as well.
It is. I think some of the families that we have connections with will do home visits too. But again, things have changed and it is around safety. So to do a home visit, we send a team of people. We don't just send one person anymore. And, truant officers just aren't like they used to be. Most schools don't have them anymore.
My second question is, we talk about, we need to talk more about our extracurricular success. I, for one, would like to know more about it. I mean, we have scholar athletes that we're not even aware of who they are and what teams they are. And I think that's important, because in order to get on the field or the court or anything outside of our school that participates in that way must have certain guidelines, and they have to fulfill that academically. And they work hard at that. And we have had some very successful teams over the years with scholar teams. But I, as a board member, have not known who they are and when it was, but I understand there's many from this district. So I, for one, would like to hear about them. Okay. Also the arts. We don't hear anything about the arts, and that's important too, especially for the ones that don't participate in athletics. They're there, and they need to be there to keep them going. And state competition, whoever they are, wherever they go. I'd like to hear more as a board member. And
absolutely. And we do offer a lot. I mean, being a smaller school, the interests and the pathways that we have are huge. So I can definitely take note of that and start presenting more on those. Really, we're cleaning up our registration process right now. Being a secondary school, it does make it a little difficult. Our students are older, so they're going home and they're babysitting, or they're working and they're helping out their family and doing other tasks. So we're really trying to encourage students to stay after. We've implemented the 4 o'clock bus, which is going to hopefully help that. But we definitely needed to clean up our registration process. And that's what we're moving along with the Arbiter Sports to try to make that more successful and an easier process for all our families. So everyone is in line and knowing what's happening.
On the same hand, though, I'd like to also know who is guiding those students. They also should be recognized.
Absolutely.
Because if it wasn't for them, they probably wouldn't be the success they are.
Yeah.
So that's extremely important to me.
Wonderful. I will make sure that happens.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have a comment, if you don't mind. We are involved in community schools. So one of the things that was brought out in community schools was that sometimes a student shows up late for school every day, and when they finally figured it out that the student was dropping off siblings at school, or had a babysitting leave the school early and babysit his siblings. So the solution was that they would create a flexible, rearrange their schedule so that they may show up late for school, but they didn't have a first class. So they rearrange their schedule. Do we have things like that going on, or are we?
I have, in particular, two very strong students who have gone above and beyond trying to advocate for that. And we've moved forward with implementing a solution in which that would be flexible around their schedules and their work schedules and volunteering opportunities that they have outside of school. So we are working on that behind the scenes and rearranging schedules and seeing how we can make that happen. So they're not penalized, but there is a place that they're going, because that is our biggest fear, is when they're leaving the school, where are they going and why are they going? So making sure that they have proof of what they're doing. So they're not just going out into the community and just going home and hanging out, but there's a reason, and we are working with them. And we do have students who have special permissions right now that we do case-by-case basis based on their needs and their family needs that we've interviewed and had meetings on and figured out for them. So we are flexible, and we do have few students that are on that, and there's parameters around that, and we're working on cleaning that up as well to make sure that, again, these students are accounted for in what they're doing.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Ms. Eberly. Our next presentation is Director of Technology, Aaron Butler.
Good evening, everyone. So just a quick update for you tonight on several of the things that we have going on within the tech department. The first few things are under the heading of security. We are in the middle of conducting our semi-annual weak password test, where we actually go through and scan every account that we have within the district to check for passwords that show up in a huge database of known hacked passwords that are for sale on the dark web. We search for duplicate passwords, which would, in most organizations, tend to be the kind of things like Tri-Valley 1 or Grahamsville 23, things like that, where multiple people are using the same password. And then we're in the middle of reaching out, contacting those users and having them change their password. And we usually give them a couple of days to go ahead and choose a good secure password, to read all the documentation I send them on how to choose that, and go ahead and change that. We're also in the tail end of our annual anti-phishing training. We actually reached the deadline where it was supposed to be complete, but as with many of these types of things, everybody has about 1 million things they're doing, and it's easy to forget about things like this and miss that. So I'm currently following up with users who have not yet completed that. As we are legally required to provide these types of trainings every year. So I have to kind of follow up and just make sure that everybody does complete that. And right now, I believe we're about 70% complete with the training, and then about another 30% that either started but haven't finished yet or haven't started yet. But it is only a half-hour training, so it's, I know some of the board members have already taken it and found it useful. We are also nearly complete with our two-factor authentication rollout for all of the staff. The last time I presented, I said that we were on schedule to complete that this month. We're still on schedule to complete that. We're looking at next week. We should have the last few staff members who haven't had a chance to get that set up taken care of, and then every single staff member that we have will be utilizing two-factor authentication. Under our projects, I already spoke about the two-factor authentication project. Our replacement of aging assets, we are in the second phase of the teacher replacement, or teacher laptop, not teacher replacements, that would be bad, teacher laptop replacements. Don't want to do the first. And that's going along well. We had a little bit of a delay. Our print management software wasn't loading on them. It turned out to be a coexistence issue with our antivirus. That took us a couple of weeks to get that sorted out. And now that was out of the way, we're rolling out new laptops to teachers every day. We also replaced our core switch stack in our data center 2 weeks ago. And that is kind of the main communications hub, if you will, for every bit of data that goes out of the school, between computers at the school. Everything passes through there. And so we've got a new switch stack in there, which will last us the next probably 7 years or more. We also just received our new communication devices for all of the administrators and security staff. I'm currently configuring those, and I'll be rolling out most of them, if not all of them, to those staff tomorrow. And finally, artificial intelligence is a huge subject in school districts, and one of the things that teachers have been reaching out to us about, and this even goes back in the last 2 years, but it's one of those fields that's just constantly changing, is AI work detection. So a teacher has a student hand in a paper and they have suspicions that it wasn't actually the student that wrote that. They went on to ChatGPT or one of the other many AIs out there and had that write the paper for them. We've been looking at a number of different tools that will actually identify that, and we ran some testing in the past week. We have one very promising candidate. We ran a number of samples. We had AI write papers at an 8th grade level, had teachers provide us with samples of our own 8th graders' work, and the student work was identified as 0% chance of it being AI, and every one of the AI samples were between 97 and 100% certainty that they were AI. So that's the kind of certainty we're looking at, because obviously with anything like this, we want to make sure that it's not going to unfairly punish a student who did in fact write the paper and is just trying to work very hard and turn in excellent work. So regardless of what we choose with this, it'll be something that we will periodically go through and provide new samples and make sure that it is still hitting those same kind of accuracy marks. And that's all I have for you tonight. Any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
I see on the discards tonight, we have a lot of computers going by the wayside. Is any of that salvageable? Is it repurposed, or is it just trash? Or
most of those are either computers that are no longer serviceable, are no longer supported. And we're going to actually, in the next year, our IT meeting this morning, we were talking about, in the next year, we have a fair number of NUCs, which are small computers on the backs of the computers that are older and are no longer receiving updates. So that becomes a security issue. And, some of those could potentially be serviceable for a home user who isn't in a high security environment, that type of thing. Unfortunately, a lot of that equipment predates my being here and was often purchased through BOCES. So when we discard, it has to go back to them, and we have no options of trying to, repurpose that, make it useful to the community or anyone like that. So, but we are always kind of looking at that kind of thing, just because it's no longer something that we can safely use here doesn't mean that it might not still have some life to it that could benefit somebody else's life. So,
Great, thanks. Okay. All right, thank you, Aaron.
thank you.
Okay, moving to item number 5 is the superintendent's report from Ms. Erin Long.
Good evening, everyone. I want to begin tonight by honoring our Board of Education and our retired board members. Certainly, it takes a strong district to build a strong community, and our board members devote countless hours to making sure that our schools help all of our children learn, and we are truly grateful for your service. As a token of our appreciation, many of your gifts have been designed or made by our students. Each of you have a cutting board engraved with a bear, a jar of salsa made by our students using ingredients from our garden, and a beautiful floral display created by our floral design class. A very special thank you goes out to Mr. Hibsch, Mrs. Barasic-Burke, Mrs. Whiteman, and Mrs. Doyle for helping our students get those ready. I would also like to acknowledge our Deputy Clerk, Mrs. Pena, for all she does to prepare us for our meetings, to do all of our minutes, and keep us organized with our board responsibilities. So thank you, everyone. In front of everyone should be a letter that we received today from Phil Vallone. We were notified this week that Rolling V is going to sell their bus company to Vanpool, which is an affiliate of the Beacon Mobility Corporation. I think it looks like this. Yeah, you have that. In our contract, on Section 18, it states that the district must approve any corporate stock transfer, assignments, or takeovers as it relates to this contract for student transportation. So Mr. Vallone is trying to schedule a meeting with us to answer any questions we may have in this transition. And we will need to vote on that approval. So it's us and Fallsburg that have this clause in our contract. So I'll be in touch with you in the next week or so to see about more information on that. I did speak with Nick Vallone the other day, and there will be no change to our services, and Nick Vallone will stay on as support for us. I do have a call into our attorney. I'm going to meet with her tomorrow and just ask some guidance on what she would like us to do if she needs to see anything too. I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to Jason Kloss for all he has done for Tri-Valley Athletics. Jason is an absolute professional, and I was delighted to work with him as athletic director, and I'm looking forward to seeing Jason step back more into the coaching of many of our teams. Next week, Mr. Stryker, Mrs. Shabodi, and myself will be attending the NYSBA conference in Buffalo, and the sessions look really informative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Moving to item number 6 is does anyone from the board wants to?
I have a question in reference to the contract with the Rolling V. We're not all aware of what's in that contract. So is there a possibility that we could review that contract as a board?
Yep, absolutely.
And
So
just
we pulled out
refresh
a
our
copy
recollection
today.
of what's in it?
Yep, and we'll get a copy to everyone.
Right. And one of it's in it, which is grandfathered in since the inception of this district, was that they cannot move the depot of the bus within outside of a certain distance from the school. And that was well thought out.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's been brought up before because they wanted to move it at one time and it wasn't allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, concerned about that.
It doesn't look like they have any intention of doing anything different. There will not be any let go of any of the Rolling V staff. Nothing will change according to Mr. Vallone. It's just more that clause in our contract, but I will make sure everybody has a copy of the contract to go through.
Well, business is business. What
Yeah.
has been done in the past may not be done now.
Mm-hmm.
Business is business, and especially for us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, moving to item number 6, items the board would like pulled from tonight's consent agenda.
I just have one question. I don't know where to do it, and I apologize. I don't have the paper with me because I pulled it out special for that, and I didn't bring it with me. And it has to do with an application. And I don't want to go into names, but I would like, how many are there tonight? 2, 3? And I would like if you have a hard copy of the application, I would show you what my concern is. And it has nothing to do with the quality of the individual that I know of. It's just a question. Yeah, I don't mind if somebody can pull it up. Does it have the application on the computer? It does. Can you pull it? I don't know. How many are there tonight?
I think there's only one. It's a sub?
Teacher aide.
I thought there was at least two, because there's one in my packet for football.
Oh, okay. You're looking at the consent agenda. Okay.
I need to see her application. I'm not sure if that's the only one we have. No, I don't think so. It could be. Bring it to. In essence of time, my question is, on my copy, it indicated that there's questions on it. And one of them said, yes or no, citizen of the United States. Mine said no. Do we handle that situation differently? Do they have to have different credentials? In other words, different papers? That's my only question. That was on my application that I received.
Is that the person that's a new appointment?
I believe
New business says that they are.
Yes.
that's not the right one. Okay, I apologize for the time. I'll take it up next time. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but in the meantime, maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, items the board wants pulled from tonight's consent agenda. Anybody? Okay. We're going to move to item 7, the consent agenda. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda? A recommended action, including the business portion, items A through I. Motion by Pat,
Second.
second by Travis. Please proceed to vote.
Aye. No, it's not him. I know him.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved, the board approves the consent agenda, recommended action, including the business portion, items 7A through I. Moving to item number 8, board committee reports. We have Tammy, you, Wellness Committee. Oh, no, Building Safety, right?
This past Monday, the Building and Safety Committee did a walk through both buildings. And we had Superintendent Long, Mr. Dean, Brent was with us, myself. We had Corey from LaChase, and Jesse was with us as the maintenance supervisor. There were several items that were noted. The security booth right outside the door here has no heat except for space heaters, despite there being 2 heaters on the wall. Apparently they're not working. The home ec classroom is using folding tables for students to do their written work. They really should have some type of actual workstation. These are small 4-foot tables that you would get in Sam's Club. Or our clothing closet room needs additional organization, storage availability. It's a wonderful program, and I think it could be used better if we could help upgrade their storage needs. The Innovation Lab, which is still a work in progress, but is coming along wonderfully. They do need additional lighting. The school does not have an automatic generator. We were here during a power test, and is that correct? We don't have a whole school generator? I think that's something that we seriously need to look into, an automatic generator for the entire building, from one end to the other, to protect the safety and security of our staff, our students, our computer equipment, and other equipment that we use. I was very surprised that we don't have that. I know it would be an expensive endeavor, but I think it's something that we should really look into. The main gymnasium here in the high school, the floor is beginning to separate and splinter. And when I say separate, there's spaces coming between the wooden planks. So I think we're going to need to look at either resurfacing it to get the splinters out and filling in the cracks, or possibly doing a new floor, depending upon the severity of the damage that's going on. The in the high school cafeteria, I know they just they've done work in there. There is a partial wall with a glass partition on top. It looks lovely, but the glass in it is frosted into a design, and it makes visibility from one side of the area to the other. It obscures the clear visibility, and if there's an issue, it could pose issues for staff. So I think we should look at that. The elementary gymnasium ceiling, we discussed with Corey, and that's going to take about 2 to 4 weeks for repairs. During our discussions, we talked about shutting down half the gym and doing half of it at a time. I don't see where that's a feasible avenue because of the number of students that could be in that room at one time. To have 45 students plus teachers in half of that gym, which is a small gym to begin with, I don't think that would be a conducive environment for learning and safety for our students or staff. I would suggest performing the work next summer when the area can be closed down. And that's all I have.
I'd like to add to that, the receiving modular as you come in is very important. And what I'm talking about is the main entrance. And I just revisited it now, and I thought it was quite cold, even though they have a heater underneath. The air, hot air, rises and escapes to the top. I know we were told, not by the superintendent, by our guide, that it was enough, but it's not enough. So I don't know if it has something to do with the ventilation. It would, but maybe you encapsulate the top to keep the heat in. That might be your cheapest, but you got to keep the people keeping us safe, keeping the people that are not supposed to be out of here, in here, they need to be taken care of appropriately. And if they're not comfortable, you know, we got to take care of our people. The electrical grid, that's a big issue. I feel, which I'm sure there's a couple professionals here that know it very well, if there's an attack at any place, generally your electrical grid goes out first, or you don't have communication. And Tammy raises a good point. We should try to find a way that we have access to something that will provide electricity to the school at any time, even though the grid goes out. I don't know the cost of it. I don't know how feasible it is, but we really should look into it for the safety of our students, our staff, and the public. The gym floor, that might be an easy fix. I don't know, but I did know we spent at one time, we did spend a lot of money on that because we were having consistent problems with it. And that was back in anywhere from 90 to 05. It was a subfloor put in it. And it was ventilation, natural ventilation in there. So that's what kept it from rising. But I see it's somewhat of a different problem now with peeling of just wear and tear. So it might be an easy fix, but it should get done. In reference to the last point, and that is the elementary gym, I also agree with Tammy that everybody's coming inside today. You know, they're going to be here because the weather, and we want them inside, and we want participation in these gymnasiums. And to do any type of work now, they might say it might take a day or 2 days or a week. It isn't going to happen because it's been taking how long now? So to do some type of work on it now really isn't plausible because of of our kids. We want them in the gym. We want activity in there. We want them taken care of. So, you know, but we got to pin them to the wall. I mean, it should never have been there to begin with, I feel. I said that from day one, but we need to move on. We need to get it done for the safety of our kids as well. So thank you.
May I just add? I would like to commend the maintenance staff, the custodial staff, and the teachers and support staff on the cleanliness of the building. From one end to the other, the entire building is extremely clean. The classrooms that I looked into were just wonderfully decorated. They provide a warm learning environment. We were in the culinary classroom, and I wanted to stay there. It was very inviting, and I think that really shows that our staff cares about their environment and the students' environments, and I would just like to commend the staff.
I have to add to that. I apologize, Tammy. I was supposed to mention that, so I'm sorry. But I was impressed. I really was impressed of the quality of what we have in our building. Really impressed. I know we've had a lot of going on. One thing of my concern is I saw a lot of empty rooms. That's my concern. And things can happen with empty rooms, even though we have cameras. And that needs to be watched. But if we have a population that's decreasing, we need to think about what we're going to do. And, you know, we talked about it one time when we had that type of situation years ago, when I was a board member. And we talked about maybe other districts have a little problem with population growth. Maybe it's something we could do here to gain a little revenue. I mean, there's a lot of you can think about, and it might be advantageous to have a meeting on that. But You're the leader here, so it's your school. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 9 is old business. We don't have any old business tonight. So we move to item number 10, which is public comment session for items that are not on tonight's agenda. And we have Matt Haynes.
Good evening, everyone. Matt Haynes, teacher here, and also president of the Tri-Valley Teachers Association. So I'd like to speak on behalf of the association tonight. We also recognize that it's School Board Recognition Night. We certainly want to recognize you all. However, we didn't know Erin was doing something tonight, so we didn't want to take anything away from what she was doing. But we did want to give you all a thank you for everything you do. You know, it's really important, I feel like, for a school to be a great school, to have communication, to be working together, to be moving towards the same goal. And I really feel like we have that here. Keith and the rest of the board members, you know, appreciate the communication with all of you. Appreciate the fact that we're all trying to achieve the same thing. And Erin, I'd say the same for you and your administrative team. You know, great communication amongst us. And of course, Norma in the back, we appreciate everything you do as well. So we would like to recognize all of you board members and administrators. So what we would like to do is the next board meeting, November 2nd, we're going to provide you all with dinner at 5:30, the upstairs library. So I'm going to give you all an invitation now. But again, just thank you for everything. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Okay, moving to item number 11 is announcements, reminders, and upcoming events. Do we have anyone who would like to bring anything to the group? No? Okay. So we will move to new business. We have item number 1 is resignation. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the resignation?
Motion.
Motion by Pat.
Second.
Second by Travis.
Brent.
Second by Brent. I have something I want to say. I feel I'm going to begrudgingly vote to approve this resignation tonight out of respect for Jason. I seem to receive an email from him every morning at 5:30, the Daily Athletic announcement, and it's always waiting for me. And recently, he had posted a quote that I thought really sums it up, how I feel about him. And that quote was from John Lucas. And basically it says, your effort level is a direct reflection of your interest level. You don't need to tell everyone how invested you are. Your actions will say everything. I personally, every time I read that thing, I'm like, I know I'm up early, but and I know it's an automated email, but I still think that the guy just goes out of his way and puts the time into just putting it out there for everyone, you know? And I just want to say, I wish Jason all the best, and I wish peace to him and his family. And if anyone else has anything,
I do, if I may.
Sure.
I'm going to vote no. It's personal, and the reason I'm voting no, we have programs in this school that other schools look at. FFA is one of them. We don't hear enough about that. Athletic department, how it's run. And it's not only just here that you hear it, it's all around the Tri-County. We are one of the best, as far as I'm concerned, in getting kids involved. And it's important for us to do that. And I see him working more hours than anybody that I know of that he does not get paid for, because he does it because that's his job. And the first thing on his mind is the most important thing that we're trying to deal with here is our children. And every one of us should have that on our mind, every one of us. And I see success. We did not miss a beat since July. We've had good participation. We've had a number of years of all teams having scholar athletes. And it starts in the classroom first and before they can get on the field, which I mentioned before. So it is something that really, it's a loss to us, a tremendous loss. And more than likely, with any change, you will get step back, because learning, you have to learn all over. So I'm a little selfish, because I want Tri-Valley to succeed. I know there are some that is glad to see it happen, that he is resigning, but I am not. And it's a great, great loss to the school, to the community, to the Hudson Valley, and most importantly, to our students. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, George. Anybody? Okay, it's an action. Please proceed to vote.
Nay.
Six yes, two no. Be it resolved, the board accepts Jason Kloss' letter of resignation from his positions as athletic director, director of physical education, and wellness coordinator, dated and received and effective October 17th, 2023. Moving to item 12B, appointment elementary school substitute teacher, teaching assistant, teacher aide for 2023 to 2024. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the appointment of the elementary school substitute teacher?
Motion.
Motion by Rose. Second. Second by Tammy. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved, the board appoints Brianna Martinez to the position of elementary school substitute teacher / teaching assistant / teacher aide for 2023 to 2024, pending fingerprint clearance. Moving along to item number 12C is the introduction of board vacancy candidates. Our first person up is going to be Mr. Robert Bale Curry. Can you please step to the podium?
Why me? That's my first question. My qualifications are, I'm a Tri-Valley graduate. I graduated in 1964. I wasn't an excellent student, but a pretty good student. And I went on to Delhi, majored in building construction, ended up with an associate's degree in building construction. When I left there, immediately I was drafted, went into the Navy Seabees, did my tour in Vietnam. When I got out of there, I was well prepared to do carpenter work and construction. And I've been a union carpenter pretty much all of my life. I spent 9 years working in sawmill and logging and truck driving, and I'm familiar with a lot of things that have to do with business. I was on the Tri-Valley School Board in the late 80s and early 90s. I was served 12 years on the board, and that was when our school was considered one of the best. I know how the school board works. I know how it worked then. I think there's some changes between then and now, so if I'm appointed, I'll have some learning to do to get caught up. But I know it's not up to one person. You know, I'm one member of a 9-member board, and you have to give and take and still remain friends. I'm not a gotcha person. I would never come in to a board meeting and ask a question that's going to make somebody squirm. I would come and I would let you know ahead of time what I have in my mind, which I do have questions to ask if I'm appointed here. And as far as, you know, my family has always been, education has always been important. My 3 kids graduated from Tri-Valley. My daughter was the top of her class, valedictorian. My 2 sons were 3rd in their class. My 2 sons served in the service. My oldest son was 5 years in the Air Force and ended up selling pharmaceuticals when he got out of there. He was very successful at it. And my daughter raised 3 wonderful boys. One of them ended up in Clarkson, and he got a 4.0 average for the 4 years in electrical engineering and mechanical. So our family is interested in education, and the parents are important to education. If you can't involve the parents, education is not going to be quite as successful. Some kids are outstanding and don't need the help, but most need to be nudged along a little bit. My youngest son, Danny, he ended up getting his doctorate degree in history, and now he's teaching at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, and he does very well there. He's been in the service for 25 years, and he just retired this July as a lieutenant colonel. That's kind of me, you know, and how this is kind of controversial. I imagine this will probably say, you know, hey, we don't want him. What's going on in this world today? Our students need to have some special training before they leave. Like you see on the news now, the colleges, there's mass numbers of kids that are condoning the killing of what's going on in Israel now, you know, and I can't understand what the professors are doing in the college and how the kids are being taught and how so many of them can condone the murdering of babies and cutting heads off and raping of women and all the stuff that's going on there. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. I think we need, as a school, to have some special training, whether it's Middle Eastern history or the history of Israel. I know there's some things that, you know, go on over there where the Arabs feel they're being treated unfairly, and there's a lot of attacks in Israel, bombs and things going on. But I don't think we should be standing up against our nation. I think we got to teach our kids to love our nation and be educated that way and be able to form opinions. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but when I see companies saying, I'm not going to hire kids that go to Harvard and Purdue because of, you know, the participation that they have in here, it's not good. Kids need to be prepared to go to college and prepared for what's going to be taught to them and be able to sort things out for themselves. And then there's issues that I can't believe we even talk about anymore. You know, we talk about things like men and girls sports, men and girls locker rooms, pronouns and things like that. You know, hey, how do you teach Spanish when it's el cabeza or la cabeza, you know, depending on if it's a woman or a man, you know, when, you know, pronouns and things are all mixed up, you know, I don't know how things can be taught, you know. Now, COVID changed our way of life. It put the schools behind academically, especially in math and reading is what you hear about. And, you know, I gave Aaron an article. I don't know if you ever looked at it or what, you know, but I still would like to know what we're doing to get caught up. Like in math, if you miss something in math, you're behind. If you miss order of operations, nothing else from there on is going to work. So, you know, I think we need to take each student and evaluate them, see, you know, go over their test scores and things and see where each one is deficient and catch them up. You know, that's an enormous job because some didn't even have computers and they had nothing. And some kept up with everything. You know, if our school isn't one of the best, there's a lot of places. New York State is not one of them, but you're going to have school choice. If our school isn't the best and our students start going to Fallsburg, Allenville, or Liberty because of school choice, we still have the same buildings and roofs and parking lots, snow removal, heat and everything. Taxes will go up severely. So I think we really have to strive to be the best. And, you know, I think that I could help to make it that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, our next person up is James McCarthy.
Hi, guys. Thanks for considering me. I also am an alumni of Tri-Valley School, so are my 3 children. I've been here my whole life except for 4 years where I was in the military as well. I did a stint here of about, 13 or 14 years as Cub Master, then Scout Master. They told me I had a retirement plan and they lied to me. So just letting you know that. Work, we started a company about 28 years ago, an ironwork company, and it was one of the largest in the Hudson Valley. I was on the board at the hall, on the apprenticeship board, and also on the contractor side of the board. And so in a much smaller way, I kind of done some of this. We oversaw the instructors, we trained the apprentices, had to discipline them, had to throw them out once in a while. We had to do all the things that you guys have to do on it, but on a much smaller scale. In this town, we volunteered. I have volunteered on the library for, that was almost 7 or 8 years as well. I was lied to about that as a retirement plan as well. And you probably heard about getting the coats. We get a bunch of people in town, volunteer. We go down to Burlington Coat. We're waiting on a list right now. And if you can help me get that list, Aaron, thanks. Because the coats are gone. You know, we wait a couple more weeks, coats are gone. But we bring them back, and I hope that helps. We don't really know what happens, but I know they're going to somebody, right? And, of course, at the food bank and the church. So one of my relatives says, what do you want to be in this board for? You're 64 years old. What are you doing? Well, I got an agenda. So you probably have heard it before, right? There's an agenda going on around here sometimes. My agenda is this. When Timmy and Travis won the election, I stood here and I told you guys, read about the responsibilities of school board. Let's read it. And one of the responsibilities is you're in charge of this whole building. You're in charge of this administration. You're in charge of these students as overseers. You're not there to do the day-to-day management, but you're there to just see what's happening. And I'd like to be part of that. I'd like to bring that to the table, and I want to see if I can live up to that, to be accountable to this community. It's okay. They can say what they want, but if you got a good reason for your decision, it's okay. I think this board's doing a heck of a job right now. I truly do. It's going in the right direction as far as I can see, but I don't know. I bet you I don't know 1/10 or 1/20 of what we really need to know. I'm just starting to learn a little bit. You guys got a big job. And so I just like to be there to help make some of those decisions with you. That's all. That's all I got.
Thank you, Jim. Our third applicant is Kerry Poley. She is not able to be here tonight, but I'm going to read a statement from her. It says, Dear Mr. Stryker, members of the Board of Education and my community, my apologies for not being able to attend the meeting this evening. I was hoping I would be able to attend in person. However, it is Parents' Weekend at my son's college, which is quite a trek by car. I am grateful to Mr. Stryker for being able to read this letter in my absence. When the announcement for the vacant seat on the board was announced, I was sad to hear of Ms. Penny Stroop's resignation. I did take a moment to pause and reflect on my time on our Board of Education. After serious deliberation and some conversation with members of the community, I believe I can be an asset if I am able to return to serving my community as a member of the Tri-Valley Board of Education. My primary motivation for seeking your support for this board seat is obviously because I am a parent of Tri-Valley students. My son graduated this past June. He took advantage of every opportunity Tri-Valley offered him as a student. When Dylan graduated, he successfully completed 35 college credits. He now attends the prestigious Virginia Military Institute, where they accepted almost all of his college credits. That is pretty impressive from a small school. Our district gave him the solid foundation to continue on to college, where he is thriving as a freshman. As a parent, you want your children to be successful as students. You want them to receive a quality education in a safe environment where they will excel after graduation, whether it's going into the workforce, attending college, or enlisting in one of the branches of the military. Not every child wants to go to college, and Tri-Valley, in my opinion, has done a great job focusing on the whole student. Yes, there are gaps due to COVID, which every school is struggling to overcome. After meeting the new administrators, I believe Tri-Valley has the proper professionals in place to move our students forward so we can bridge some of these educational gaps. Community is incredibly important to me. Our school is the center of our community. I am a firm believer that it takes a village to raise a child. I have volunteered with organizations such as the PTO, Parks and Recs Board, Board of Education, as well as CAST for many, many years to provide opportunities for our students. It is important for me as a parent to show my children when your community is in need, you step up. I lead by example. When this seat became vacant, I felt it was my duty to step up. Prior to COVID, our district was on a positive momentum, engaging with the community to bring back that Bear country pride. I saw that excitement and pride last fall, but it quickly dwindled away. That feeling of school and community spirit can be sparked. It's incredibly important to our culture in our small town of Neversink. Being a member of the Board of Education, you have the unique opportunity to engage with the community, listen to their feedback, communicate with our superintendent and board president. A transparent board is what our community has been vocal about for many years. I understand and respect the chain of command. I think our board is doing a great job keeping the community apprised with information and, most importantly, supporting our students in their endeavors. I am a proud alumni of Tri-Valley. There are also several alumni who currently sit on the Board of Education. As alumni, no matter what year you have graduated, you are passionate and want to continue with our traditions. I could not agree more. However, I also embrace and encourage change when necessary. I believe I will be an asset to the board with the upcoming budget season right around the corner. I have attended numerous NSBE board trainings, was a member of the audit and policy committees. I am a level-headed parent who wants to see all of our students succeed. Again, my apologies for not being able to attend tonight's meeting. Filling this vacancy is an important decision. I hope this letter adequately explains my desire to return to the Board of Education. Thank you for all you do for our district. Be well, Carrie Ann Poley. Thank you, Carrie. Okay, so the board can, if you want to have some discussion, I'm going to pass out some ballots. And you can cast your vote. And then we'll see what happens. That's for you. That's yours. Any discussion or anything? All right. Yeah, if you want. All right, that's it, everybody. All right, so we're just gonna open up. One for Carrie Ann Poley. One for James McCarthy. Another one for James McCarthy. Another one for James McCarthy. One for Carrie Ann Poley. One for James McCarthy. One for Carrie Poley. One for James McCarthy. Okay, same thing. Okay, we have 5 for James McCarthy. Is Tammy Chibodi, George Dean, Tim Diamond, Travis Hartman, Keith Stryker. And we have 3 for Kerry Poley, is Brent Clark, Pat Kelly, and Rose Woods. Congratulations, Jim McCarthy. So we're going to be swearing you in right away. It's too late. Norma will swear you in.
Jim McCarthy, do solemnly pledge and declare I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of school board member according to the best of my ability.
So Norma, I guess I put the cart before the horse, so we're going to do the official vote. Okay. It is an action. You tricked you. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the appointment of Jim McCarthy to the board? Motion by Pat. Second. Second by Tammy. Please proceed to vote.
Yay.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Be it resolved at a duly called meeting of the Board of Education of the Tri-Valley Central School District, upon a motion made by Pat Kelly and seconded by Tammy Chivoti, the following resolution is adopted. Whereas Ms. Danielle Penny Stroop resigned her position as a member of the Board of Education effective July 17th, 2023, but her term was not set to expire until June 30th, 2024. Whereas the Board of Education decided to fill the vacancy by Mrs. Danielle Penny Stroop's resignation by appointing a qualified voter to seat upon the review of the applications submitted by interested persons. And whereas the board, having received 3 applications, has decided to appoint district resident and qualifier James McCarthy to serve until the annual school district meeting scheduled for May 21st, 2024. Now be it therefore resolved that the Board of Education appoints James McCarthy as a member of the Board of Education to fill the vacancy created by resignation of Mrs. Danielle Penny Stroop until the annual school district meeting scheduled for May 21st, 2024, at which time the balance of Mrs. Danielle Penny Stroop's term will be filled by a qualified voter elected at that annual school district meeting, and be it further resolved that the district clerk is directed to administer the oath of office to James McCarthy immediately so that they can begin to serve. Dated October 19th, 2023, Norma Pena, District Clerk. 5 in favor and 3 opposed. Actually, I'm sorry, that's totally unanimous, right? Okay, on the vote. Okay, so it's 8 in favor and 0 opposed. Okay, and that is it. We are going to move to item number 13, board comment session. Brent, anything? Travis?
Yeah.
George?
I have a couple, please. Again, I always mention at the meetings about our policy committee works very hard. New rules always coming down, and we always look forward to doing that. It takes a lot of time. It's well worth it. But there's only one policy manual, and anybody wants to see it, its hard copy is here. And that's the one that this school is supposed to be going by. So if there's any question, just send them to whoever and tell them that this is the policy book. It's been vetted by our lawyers. If there's anything else out there, I don't know, I can't comment on. But this is our policy book. And it's been approved by the board. And that's the one that's most important. Another thing on is sort of it's an embarrassing note for me. I attended the school board's meeting with Southern County School Boards, what they have every year, along with our president of the board, Mr. Stryker, and our superintendent of schools, Aaron Long, and of course, Tammy Shabodi, and myself. And I'm not used to having an empty table coming from Tri-Valley. And, you know, I met a lot of people that I knew from years ago. And they came over and we talked quite a lot about things happening. And one of the things they did comment on, why is our table empty? I can't answer that. It takes involvement from everybody, but believe it or not, other districts see that. And I was embarrassed for them to come over and mention that. So please think about, you know, maybe, I know you have families like I do. When I participated years ago, 15 years, I missed 3 board meetings. One was by choice. The other 2 was personal reasons. But it's important because it sends a message to not only to the community, to the district staff members, to our children that we represent. And they want to see a board that's involved and engaged in every aspect of our district. And when you run for the board, and I will make a note to the new board member that it will take a lot of engagement and a lot of trying times, but a lot of good times we have. And just the camaraderie that we could have is immeasurable. So please just, I don't mean to dwell on it. I don't mean to embarrass anybody, but please, we need to step up to the plate because I'm not used to sitting alone. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Rose?
Just want to say a thank you to Jason Kloss for all he's done for us as athletic director. And Keith, I'm in agreement with you on those emails. I look forward to those every morning. So I do hope that they will continue as we pass the torch on.
Thank you, Tammy.
I'd like to thank the 3 candidates that submitted their letters of interest for the vacant seat. And I'd like to welcome Jim to the board. A note on Mr. Kloss. I'm going to miss those emails as well. I wish him the best in everything that he does in the future. And I look forward to seeing him doing more in the classroom. And I just think he's a wonderful asset to this school. On a different note, I do have a question. I noticed on various agendas, appointments are listed under both consent agenda and new business for new employees. Why is that?
That was a request from Mr. Dean so that our new employees and new hires got recognized as joining our team here at Tri-Valley. The folks that are under the consent agenda that sub for us that are appointed, they've already been introduced to us. So we just wanted to acknowledge the folks that were joining our team.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, again, thank the 3 candidates who stepped up. It's a big commitment. I truly appreciate you all expressing your interest, and congratulations to Jim McCarthy. Thank you.
All right. I'll be brief because it's been a long one tonight. Congratulations, Jim. He's a great addition. I went to school with his two sons. It's a good family. I think he'll bring something to the board. I'd like to thank Carrie and Bob for running and the continuous interest. Bob, you have a heck of a resume, Vietnam veteran with some really successful lineage. I'm pretty impressed. I hope you keep at it and keep showing up and supporting. And same thing to Carrie. There's going to be a race in 6 months, roughly 7 months. So I'm sure we'll see you guys there. Homecoming was what I thought a great success. You guys had great participation. Enthusiasm is starting to build. I thought the staff really went all in. It's great to see the kids show up, not be too cool. I feel like in past years we've had a lot of kids that were too cool to go to these things, and so they showed up. They went to the dance. They got all fancy, and it was pretty cool. Lastly, a thank you to Mr. Kloss. And one of the things I want to touch on that he brought to the table that a lot of people don't realize, and this is a combination of Mr. Kloss and our new superintendent and the board. He brought us an athletic trainer for home football games. The first football game that we had this trainer, we had a player dislocate their knee on the first play of the game. And I didn't even know the trainer was there. I thought he was a reporter, to be honest. He had a giant bag with him. And he came running out, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. It looks like he wants to help. And he was fantastic. Same game, third quarter, we have a player with a concussion. He comes out on the field. He's calm. He handles it so professionally. That took our athletics program. It sounds silly, but that really takes us to the next level. And if it's your kid on the ground with their kneecap on the side of their leg, you're going to want someone besides myself and Mr. Credelli standing over him. So that's all I have. Jason was always professional. And he was mature. He brought a lot to the district. I also want to make sure that we all know Jason is still with us. He's going to be a great teacher, coach, and will still contribute, I'm sure, to a high level. So thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Just a couple things. Miss Eberly had talked about the junior firefighters going down to the elementary for Fire Prevention Day. I was on campus that day for something else. The number of pieces of equipment that our various fire districts brought was truly impressive. The kids, when I was walking into the high school, you could hear the kids down here having a great time. So thank you to all the fire departments that did come out, all of their members. The kids learned invaluable lessons, I'm sure. As far as Mr. Kloss goes, Jason started out as a Roscoe Blue Devil. There's no doubt in my mind that today he is wholeheartedly a Tri-Valley Bear. I appreciate everything he's done, the sacrifices he's made. Consummate professional, just a good all-around guy who gave a lot for a very long time. So I hope he gets some rest and, finds a little bit of peace because he certainly deserves it. Congrats to Mr. McCarthy. Welcome aboard. And there's one other thing, but we'll leave it unsaid. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you. Moving to item number 14, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Tim. Second by Tammy. Please proceed to vote.
Actually, the last item was good luck to all of our students who are playing in sectionals.
So I start writing stuff down. I can't remember.
George, you vote?
I'm sorry. Yeah, whatever it is, yes.
No, we want to go home.
I'm outnumbered.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
That was very fun.